Hello, beauties. I hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to share something with you guys because sometimes we need a reminder of how much you make a difference. Just being here, just being you makes a huge difference. So, let me just share a quick story with you. Last night, I was doing some ride shares and I didn't do very many before I felt out of balance, and I just did not want to pour into anyone else. That was a sign that my cup needed to be refilled. I needed to replenish myself because I just felt as though I didn't want to hear anything else about whatever anyone had going on. And so I picked up some intoxicated people and I thought, you know what? I would really love to be sitting outside with a glass of wine, just stargazing. And so I went to the liquor store and I got my favorite bottle, y'all. Love, love, love me some sweet Marcella. But I was talking to the gentleman that worked there, and he said, I see you about to go home and relax. And I said, yeah, I'm just done. I can't pour anything else into anybody else. I feel like I need to be poured into. So I'm going to go and relax. And I'm going to sit outside with my glass of wine and enjoy myself. And he started to tell me about a customer that had came in the other day. And he said that he engaged with her the way he does any and every other customer. And the woman purchased a large bottle of alcohol. I think he said it was like a fifth. And she seemed really down. And he just wanted to pour into her. And not only did he pour into her, he also invited her to him and his son's birthday party because they both shared the same day. He gave the woman his number and he said, go ahead and call me so that I can send you the information so that you can come. The next day, she came back to the store to see him, and she confided in him that she was not a drinker, that she had been going through a lot, and that her intention was to purchase that bottle to get the nerve to kill herself. And she thanked him and told him that she wanted to buy his son a gift for his birthday and that she was going to show up to that party when he invited her because of how he blessed her that day and gave her more hope. And he was explaining this to me, and he said, I couldn't believe that I touched someone to that point to where I saved a life, that I made her reconsider. He said, and I didn't even know what was going on. I just felt led to pour into her, to invite her, to make her feel special. And he just was in such disbelief because he was just like, he said, I was high on the job. He said, I had been smoking. He said, I had me a shot. He said, and I couldn't imagine God using me in that capacity to help another. He said, so I'm sharing this to say you never know who you are blessing as you are just out and about. And that did touch my heart, and it reminded me because it's not just ride shares. God tells me when and where to cut these apps on, and I always have divinely orchestrated meetings. And I did have one that really touched my heart, and at the time I was dealing with some healing through a domestic situation, And when I picked up this female that was going through what I was already experiencing, I had all the information that she needed to get herself out of that situation. And because it was so fresh, of course, I cried, I poured out my story, and I wanted her to really hear me and make that decision for herself to do better, to get in a better situation. And I picked her up again. And she thanked me for the encouragement. She thanked me for being vulnerable. And she told me that she got out of that situation. She had her own place. She was healing. She was thriving. And she was just like, I just been praying to God, to let us cross paths just so that I can let you know how you changed my life. And that really touched me. So I appreciated him sharing his story with me, because it was a reminder that I just need to refill my cup, let it overflow, because someone else is depending on that overflow. So I'm sharing this because you just don't know how needed you are, how many people who you've touched. So keep showing up and make sure that you fill your cup. When you feel it starting to drop, and we know, we know. My Reiki master asked me, she said, what does your level 3 look like? Level 3 for me is very agitated. So before we even get to that point, we have to stop and we have to replenish ourselves, not just for ourselves, but so that we can also continue to do God's will and touch another person, because we are all interconnected. We all need each other. It is not just about self. Yes, self is important. I am a big believer of self-care, and when you need that self-care, it is not selfish, because you need to be on overflow. So I hope that this message reaches somebody that needs to hear it, because we all need to be reminded sometimes of how much bigger we are in this plan that God has. You may want to listen to the song Bigger by Beyonce, because sometimes we think we're so small and insignificant, but really you are an amazing piece of God's puzzle. Have a good night, y'all, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.